Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and pay our respects to them, their culture, and their elders past, present, and future. I'm joining this meeting on the lands of the Wurundjeri, Woiwurrung, and Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation. Hi, everyone. I'm very excited to be here talking about one of my favourite features in SwiftFox events. I'm Isabelle, Head of Communications at SwiftFox, and I'd like to introduce Rob Versluis, one of our brilliant developers, and Hunter Adams. Rob, I think this is your inaugural debut on SwiftFox webinar, so big welcome to you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
And we're also joined by Hunter. I think last time you were here, you were talking about Swift Predict and emails, so very exciting to have you back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Great. So we are here today to talk about SwiftFox events. It's the start of November, and I think a lot of our clients are in the midst of event season and planning. So this will be a welcome tutorial. But before we get into it, Hunter, do you want to do a quick explainer of what the SwiftFox feature actually is for the people who aren't already using it?
Yeah, so SwiftFox Events is one of the core features in SwiftFox, and it's an essential tool for a lot of our clients. Every marketing team has events, and whether you're organizing webinars or fundraisers or Christmas parties, it does require a lot of work from a team. So SwiftFox Events compiles all that information together, from your RSVP lists to your event emails, to the forms your attendees fill out, even the data analysis at the end. It's all done with SwiftFox Events.
Great. Thanks, Hunter. That was a very great summary there. Rob, do you want to also just give us a bit of an explainer of what has changed in SwiftFox events and the new updates that we've put through?
Yeah, sure. So apart from updating the look and feel, we also added the ability to add multiple forms to your event. So before you just have one RSVP form, but we realized you might want to use different forms for different scenarios. So for example, you might want to use one form on your website, mainly for people that you will not have in your system yet. So in that case, you probably want to capture their contact details, just have a bit more information on them. And if you want to invite somebody that you already have in your system, so you already have their contact details, they might not need to ask for those again. And all you really care about is whether or not they're going to attend your event or not. Another thing is customized RSVP options. This will give you greater flexibility for targeted communication and just tracking the status of your attendees.
Great, thanks, Rob. And if you're trying to track all that, don't worry, we'll get into it. Hunter, I think we touched on it a little bit there, but more options for RSVP. Hunter, I think you're muted.
I had a feeling that would happen. Yeah, so as part of the flexibility piece, it's now much easier to send automatic email invites to people depending on their invite status. So your maybes will get one email, your yeses will get another, and your nos will get another. There are also some automatic communications that are now possible as well. Yeah, you touched on another feature upgrade there, but just to add to it, we've also broadened our RSVP options. We're very straightforward people and we love yes and no, but of course you can now RSVP maybe or we'll see or whatever you like.
Great, and the important thing is that that's all logged in the system, regardless of how it's sort of expressed to the clients receiving it. It will still be in your system as, yes, no, maybe. Great, and we've also made some changes to Zoom. Do you want to go through that as well, Hunter?
Yeah, so we wanted Zoom to be more flexible. We wanted to do more with our Zoom integration. So we've now made it a lot easier to have that information sharing between platforms, and you'll see that in the demo.
Great. And Rob, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
It's basically just more flexibility and customization. Yeah, so each organization will have different needs for their events, so there's just a lot more options to cater it exactly to your needs, basically.
Great. Okay, let's get into the demo then, Hunter.
Sure thing. So the first step is to go to your event. We're already here, but on your side toolbar, you can see this events feature. So you just click on that and then go to your event from there.
Yeah, so and here you see the sort of standard attributes of an event: name, description, start time, end time, and the location. You can either have a in-person event, with an address attached to it, or might be an online event like this one here, by Zoom or any other platform. Or it could be hybrid, where you have some people show up in person at a physical location, and other people might, phone in. I mean, we do this a lot as well at SwiftFox, because we have some of our team members living in Brisbane or Sydney, and yeah, just another bit of flexibility, basically.
Yeah, great. And I should just say as well, this is sort of quite a generic event as well. So we're just showing you sort of the bare bones, but there's so many more sort of customizations, which we'll touch on a little bit. So how do I create a Zoom event?
You would ensure that all the above information is filled out, because conveniently that will all flow through to Zoom automatically. And then you would select hybrid or online because it's Zoom. And then the blue button will say create Zoom webinar, and you click that.
Okay, great. And so if I wanted to create a real life in-person event, that would be, how do I do that one?
You just, use the address and look up and
okay. And if I can't find something for some unexpected reason?
Yeah, if you can't find your address, there's an option here to enter it manually. So you just click that. And then you can fill out this form, and that will be used as your event address. But for us, it's Eagle Street, Brisbane City.
Okay, great.
And from there, you can move on to your custom fields.
Okay, and in case anyone isn't familiar with custom fields, so I'm guessing all of our clients would be, because we talk about it quite a bit, but Rob, what is custom fields?
It's kind of in the name, right? It's a custom field. These can be configured for each individual client, so to speak. And in this case, we've got key staff and catered, because for some reason we care about who's the key staff for the event and whether or not our event is catered. This could literally be anything. So whatever you might find important to keep track of for an event, you can just add it here. Literally, the world's your oyster, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And there are also other custom options available. For example, we've set some custom RSVP options. So if I go to settings and then go to event settings, we can see all of our RSVP options here.
Yeah, so if you see the first four, like attending, not attending, attended, did not attend, they're sort of standard. You cannot change those because they're sort of needed for the Zoom integration. Underneath there, you see a few custom ones. These are ones that we just added here. Again, could be anything you want, basically. So in this case, we used feedback provided. So after the event, we might want to send a feedback form to our attendees. And then after they fill out the feedback form, their status will then be changed to feedback provided. And you might want to use that to cut a list of the people that have done this, and I don't know, send them a thank you email or something like that.
Great. And so can anyone create these event send rules?
No. That's just the admins of your organization.
Yeah, you need permissions. Excellent. Okay, I think we can move on to our next step. I'll just go back to the event, which is our attendees step. So our mailing list is a little bit skinny in this imaginary webinar, but we do the usual. You can either choose from a mailing list or you can add people individually, or a combination of the two. And this list will automatically update with RSVPs as people confirm their RSVPs. However, if I wanted to update them manually here, I can also do that.
Great.
Yeah, you might have somebody, give you a call, like, hey, could you please confirm me for this, without them actually filling out the form. Again, just a little bit more flexibility.
I really love this, because I know that whenever we're organizing an event, you will inevitably get somebody saying, hey, can I, just RSVP this for me, or I've got this client, it's really important. Yeah.
Yeah, and something else that's very exciting is that once the event is over, or the webinar, your attendee RSVP statuses will be updated automatically to either attended or did not attend based on the attendance list in Zoom, which is a notable feature. Okay, I think we can move on to our RSVPs.
Yeah, so here you see all the forms attached to this event. We've only added 2 here, but you can add however many you want, you know, again, just whatever suits your needs, basically. You can either embed them in your website or send direct links or you know, use an email to send a link to the form.
Yeah, and this is one of the big changes to sort of SwiftFox events as well.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Because, you know, we all know that in an event, there's just so much correspondence that needs to be targeted, you know, and whether you have those website forms online or in person, whether people attended or not, obviously it's going to result in a different form. Okay, well, we might move into the actual form.
Okay, let's do it. All right, so we've got our online sign up form. Obviously, we've come prepared, but as you can see, you can customize this information. But something we really wanted to show off were these custom questions I've created. So you can ask questions based on the custom fields in people's profiles. So in our example, we have a custom field for dietary requirements. And how I did this, I dropped the add or update contact block into this form, and then you click it, go to fields, and then in this field section, you can add whatever field you have available in the person's profile, which is, yeah,
it would be the exact same fields they have on a person's profile. So yeah, if somebody fills out this form, fills out the dietary requirements on their profile, it will now indicate that might be vegetarian, and you can then use this to cut a list of all your attendees, and then just see what you need of which food, basically. Yeah.
And it's just really great for client engagement, because if you're talking, you know, to someone and you can see on their profile that they're, you know, they're a vegan or they're celiac or, you know, whatever it is, that's really important. But it's the same for any custom field, which is great.
It could literally be anything, whatever you want. You want to know what foodie club they support, anything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's excellent. All right, I'm going to save and close this form, and then I think we're good to move on to the next step, which is our email step. I'm going to exhibit another very cool SwiftFox feature here and just move some of these columns over.
Ooh. And so what are those cool looking sendrils there, Hunter? Rob?
Sorry. Yeah, I was going to say these are you might recognize them as the RSVP options. So basically, based on the status of an attendee, you can then target them with specific emails. So like we mentioned it earlier, maybe you want to send a thank you for people that have provided feedback. You just select, you know, everybody that has feedback provided. It'll just get sent to them.
And this is, yeah, one of my favorite bits, because naturally you want to send different emails to people based on how they've RSVP'd to your event.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, great. So in terms of the event webinar invite, I see that there's no sendrils there, but auto mail is ticked. Why is that?
Yeah, so this invite will go to people before they've RSVP'd. So Rob might be able to elaborate a little bit more.
Yeah. Basically, the auto email functionalities, maybe people get added to your list after you've already sent out your invitation email. So then anyone that gets added to your list later on as a potential attendee, they will automatically get sent this email as well. So there's no need to resend. It just gets done automatically at the moment they're added to your event.
This is so handy, because, you know, if you've suddenly, putting in that new person into your invite list, they're not getting your reminder email, they're getting that first email in sequence. So that's just so good. All right, let's go into the email section, I think.
All right, so we're going to go into this invite campaign that we've got here.
Great. And so there's no send rules selected there because this is obviously the invite email, so it'll be sent to everyone on that list. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great. And excellent. So what's that stakeholder leader name section there?
So each person you have in SwiftFox can have a stakeholder leader attached to them. This is like, for example, your point of contact, or whoever deals with your account or something. If you just tick stakeholder leader name and stakeholder leader email, when they send an email, basically it's as if it was sent by that stakeholder leader.
Yeah, and this is so good for engagement again, because people are obviously going to be more likely to open an invite email or an email if it's sent to somebody they know.
Yeah, also the signature on the bottom of the email can have like the stakeholder leader information already filled out as well.
Great.
Excellent. All right, I've set my stakeholder leader name and email, and I'm going to move on to the design step. So here we have a familiar looking email. And just as you would in the email builder, you can send links, you can create merge fields, etc. And if you select one of the buttons, you can see that it links to our Zoom webinar here, which is very, very cool. And then you would move on and schedule that email like you normally would. For now, I'm just going to save and close and move on to our overview step. And here you can see a summary of all your RSVPs, all of your forms and email campaigns as well. But one of the coolest features of SwiftFox events is if I go back to the attendees step and I go to someone's profile, say my own, and I go to the Insights tab, we can see all of the data related to this person's RSVP to your events. So obviously, the more data you have, the more you'll get out of this metric. But it gives you all of the relevant information for that person based on their event attendance and their email opening.
Yeah, and obviously you're looking quite fresh there in terms of your total emails and event attendance, because this is just, we've just created this tenant for this demo. So yeah, but fantastic to track over time. Right. Well, we might move.
Well,
there's one more thing.
Yeah, I was going to say there's one more thing that's pretty convenient. So you've done your event, you send out your emails, you created all these forms, but you want to decide to do it again. Like might be a monthly barbecue, who knows. So if you then go back to the events list, there's an option there to clone the event, and then you can decide, you can rename it, or and then you can decide, do I want to have the same emails, the same RSVP pages, and the same attendees? It'll just clone your event. It will reset everyone's RSVP status. It will reset the scheduling of the emails and all those kind of things. You can still make changes, of course, and then it's just to make life a little easier. You don't want to do the same thing twice, really.
Yeah, that's great. Good point. Thanks for reminding me there as well, Rob. We might just move on to audience questions. One that we got through was, when my client fills the information in the form, will it save the answers in the contact for the future? For example, the dietary questions.
Yeah. Everything you put into the contact form will get saved on the person's profile. Yeah,
it's great. It's just, again, just everything that you send through SwiftFox, everything will be kind of compiled and making your data rich.
Yeah, it's just make life easier, so you don't have to, keep track of these things. It's all being done for you, basically.
Yeah. Another one came through, which was around having, is it possible to add +1s? Yes.
Yeah, it is. There's also a form block where you can add, you can basically set how many +1s, things like that, and then whoever fills out the form can add however many extra people. They will be added to SwiftFox, or their details updated depending on whether or not we already have their data.
Yeah, and there's add contact and there's add contacts, and
Yes.
that's that one.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is really good. So yeah, any new person in there, and if they RSVP.
Yeah, you can also add their organization, for example, and then there will also be the organization either already exists or will be created, and all the people you add will be added to that organization as well.
Great. All right. Well, I think we might leave it there. And if you did have any further follow-up questions, just email us and we'll shoot you through some answers. So great. Thank you so much, Rob and Hunter, for jumping on, and thanks to everyone for attending. See ya.